Hello, and thank you for joining us for our next UCLA X Film Festival 2022 panel discussion. My name is Drew Conrad. I'm the Student Affairs Officer with the Entertainment Studies program. I will be your moderator for this panel. Today, we are joined by 5 of our filmmakers whose films hopefully you have had the pleasure to watch. If you haven't yet, we'll drop a link to the festival website in the chat. I was certainly drawn into all of these films. While these 5 films are very different from each other, there is a running theme in all of them, which is family. Joining us today are writer, director, and producer Carlota Busquets with her film From the Inside, Lines director and producer Celeste Huang, writer-director Isabel Mazzolini with her film Pillow, and Reagan Patterson, who wrote, directed, and produced The Wish. Unfortunately, Lizzie Young Lu, who wrote, directed, and produced A Matter of Time, is not able to join us as scheduled for this discussion. My questions are unknown to our filmmakers, so this should be a fun and very in-the-moment experience. Our conversation will take place over the next hour or so please drop any questions you have in the chat box throughout the discussion, and we'll address those questions towards the end of the panel. Okay, let's get started, and let's start with Carlota. Your film From the Inside is a documentary that focuses on 20-year-old Syrian refugee Fatima, who fled the war in her country with her family and relocated to a refugee camp in Greece, where life is anything but easy. Despite some disturbing and heartbreaking revelations about life in the refugee camp, Fatima is determined to go on to live the life she deserves. Being a filmmaker from Spain, how exactly did you learn about Fatima and her life in Greece? It's actually a very, very fascinating documentary.
Thank you. So it was a bit difficult at the beginning. I was so lost, but I love helping people, and I just found that my way to help people is by giving visibility to certain topics. So I discovered about the topic about the refugees, and I thought this topic was pretty popular and famous a long time ago, but it seems like people have forgotten about it. With we have many things going on, like the war in Ukraine and everything. So people have forgotten about these things, but there are things that still go on, and people is suffering. So I really wanted to do it about this. So I started talking to friends and family members that I knew they did a volunteer or something in the refugee camps in Greece. So yeah, just talking with friends and family, I ended up talking with a guy. He was a refugee in a refugee camp in Greece, and I did this documentary with 2 other girls. So at the beginning we wanted to do about refugee people, but we thought it was a really big topic, so we wanted to make it a bit smaller. So we decided to do it about women. So talking with this guy, a refugee guy from Greece, we asked him if he had friends or family members that were women and they were willing to talk about their stories and explain us about their lives. And then we ended up talking with Fatima. And the first second we saw her, she was 20 years old. So she is almost the same age as me and the other 2 girls that made the documentary. So we instantly connected with her and we bonded so well. And yeah, we that's how we met Fatima, and then we decided to just go for it and explain her story.
Wow, it was incredibly compelling. I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, it was difficult to watch because it hurts to know that has happened. Things like that, atrocities in refugee camps have happened and are happening right now. It's very, very difficult, but like you said, it's important. If we don't hear about these things or turn on the news and see it, it's as though it's not happening. So
exactly.
Thank you, seriously, thank you for making this film. It's something that needs to be known. It needs to be known. It's just fantastic. Celeste, Lines is a truly suspenseful film about a man who owes money to a drug dealer and is willing to sacrifice his family to clear his debt. The story takes a very unexpected turn, which I did not see coming. I loved the twist in that. You directed and produced this film, which was written by Paul Nauer. How did you two meet and decide to work together? I know that comes up a lot with our students. How does a director meet a writer or a producer? How do you all connect? Tell us the story of that.
Yeah, so I was trying to work on a script of my own, and I just was having so much trouble with it. I just could not crack it, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, and I was so impatient to just go out and make something. So I remember taking a class, UCLA extension class, with Jenny Lou Teagan, and she
Yeah.
had introduced us to simplyscripts.com. So I went on that site, was looking for some scripts. Paul's was the very first script that I found and read, and I just loved it instantly. It was like, I think the original script was maybe 5 pages. And I love the twist ending that you mentioned. And I emailed him, just cold emailed him, said I loved his story. Could I possibly make it? Just basically pitching myself. So
Right.
I shared one teeny tiny short that I'd previously made. He liked that, and he let me option it for free. So we went ahead and did it. It was amazing. He's so nice. He's a wonderful guy with so many scripts under his belt.
Wow. Oh, that's fantastic. We always talk about at UCLA Extension how important it is to network and not be the person, the artist who just sits at home and hones your craft, but doesn't necessarily get out there and do anything. This is a perfect example of, okay, I am a writer, but I'm not happy with what I have for the moment, but that doesn't mean I can't be out there producing. And now you have a wonderful producer credit under your belt because you just didn't stop. That's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. I can't believe it. I still can't believe you let me make it. So it's been really fun.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Isabel, Pillow is a story you wrote, directed, and produced about a young boy named Matthias, whose father is trying to protect him from learning the truth about the mother he has never met, a woman who apparently is a drug-addicted prostitute. Unfortunately, the story is not unrealistic. This kind of life is a reality for many people. So again, thank you for telling this story. What inspired you to write this important and very compelling story?
I was actually writing something else. But then when I started my exchange year at San Francisco State University a couple of years ago, they asked me to come up with a story by the end of the week for my thesis. And so I decided to take a part of the whole story that I had, and I decided to talk about this kind of like spin-off moment. And I don't know, it's just, I'm a first generation immigrant too. My mom is from another country. And I've always been interested in understanding languages and the culture at the same time. But also, I was actually kind of planning to like make it in French, because like my mom comes from a French speaking country.
Okay.
And I decided to make it in Spanish because I was in the United States at the time. But my point wasn't to talk about, for example, like Latinos experience something like that. It was like about humanity. It was about cultures, but like at the same time, everybody goes through very, very bad situation, and everybody's in the same, has the same issues, and that's generally it.
Right. Oh, that was a great story. How did you find, were you the one responsible for finding the actors?
Yes, me and my producer, we worked together with it.
Everybody, as in all of these films, was fantastic. How did you find Matthias? He was just fabulous in the role.
He was an amazing kid. He's working now. He's doing great. He and his father actually came to the production company in which I was having the castings, and he just started. I think he had prepared the monologue from The Little Prince, and he was just so innocent and just so beautiful, and we connected immediately, and it was fabulous. He's a great kid and actor. Really
I don't doubt it. Yeah, the innocence on his face really drew me in as well.
Yeah.
I know there were two different actors. One sort of he's going back in his mind about something that may not even have occurred, but I know there was a younger actor as well. Both of them, you did a beautiful job casting, because both of those kids, all of the actors, but the kids in particular, really just drew me in immediately.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have a lot of siblings that are all younger than me. The youngest, like 2 years old, and so I've always been very like close connected with kids, and I think they feel it too.
Yeah, something worked. Something worked quite well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Reagan, The Wish is an animated film about an asteroid who gets separated from his parents in space and struggles to find his place among the stars. It's a truly beautiful story about finding meaning in life, finding meaning in one's own existence. We also follow the story of children wishing on a shooting star and a special girl in an orphanage whose wish comes true. I truly found your story so incredibly inspiring. What caused you to write this story? What was the impetus for this story?
You know, I think I was thinking about, first of all, what actually causes a shooting star, what the star is before that. And as most of us know, it isn't actually a star, it's a meteorite that turns into that. And so I love to think about sort of inanimate objects as if they have feelings. That's sort of what my next short is about too. And I just thought, imagine if the meteorite didn't, you know what its future was, didn't know that that's what it was going to turn into. And I feel like there's a lot of people, especially children, who might be different or have different skill sets or outlooks or backgrounds than others. And usually that's looked upon as, you know, kids can make fun of it, or it's different, it's not good or whatever, but actually different can be great. It can be even better, and help other people that have the same problems or issues, or sort of relate. And I like the idea, the message that you're not alone, there's others like you, and you might have even a greater purpose than you know in the future, helping someone else.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. That's, to me, that's what so much of what art is about, is sharing our common experiences that we may not know are common experiences.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
music, the same thing with music. You can hear a song and say, wait a second, I've thought that before. I had no idea somebody else thought that before.
Yeah, love that.
That's great. Really, changing lives with art is just so fantastic. So if I recall, I believe I read that this was your first animated project.
Yes.
How did you decide? That seems like a big task to take on. Do you have a background in animation, or did you say, I have no idea what I'm doing, but let's just see what happens?
Exactly. Yeah, not at all. I think kind of my line of thinking was, I was also inexperienced in live action, and it was sort of overwhelming to me, the idea of like working with SAG and hiring a cameraman and actors and not knowing anything. There was going to be a lot more people involved if I was going to do live action, which I do hope to do someday as well. But I liked the idea that I could hire one person, share my vision with them. And when I hired someone, I was looking to find someone that was going to work with my experience level, sort of help explain things to me. And I liked that, you know, when you do a live action short, you're like, okay, we're shooting over these 2 days. And then you get home and you have the footage, and like, that's it, unless you want to have everyone pay everyone again to come back. And with animation, it's like he could send me a scene that, you know, I would communicate I wanted one way, and actually it would be different than I had imagined. It was a really good learning experience for me too, just as far as communication with your animator or actors or whatever. And so I liked that I had more opportunity with animation to go back and change things the way I wanted them. Even though that, you know, that's still time consuming and expensive as well, but it's just a slower process, which can be a little more irritating, but also more forgiving in the process of making each scene exactly how you wanted it.
Right. Oh, that's fantastic. It was very inspiring. I loved it. I truly loved it. Really, really heartwarming. Sort of continuing off of a point you just brought up, making a film, whether it's a feature or a short, is always a challenge, with unexpected issues that come up, some expected, but some very unexpected issues. We have a lot of aspiring filmmakers in our audience today who might feel overwhelmed with the challenges that have to be faced when making a film. What would you say was the single biggest obstacle each of you faced in trying to complete your film, and how did you overcome that obstacle? I'll leave it open to whoever would like to go first.
Well, I can go. I feel my biggest obstacle was definitely dealing with COVID when I was shooting, because it was 2021, but like we couldn't travel. If we needed to travel, you needed like a certificate saying that you were allowed to travel because of work or because of whatever.
Right.
And yeah, just dealing with that was like so difficult. I needed to travel from Spain to Greece in that moment, and there was almost no flights. Then I got like the certificates that I needed and all the forms that I needed from my university. But then once I was there was also a lot of difficulties, because at 5 p.m. we needed to be at home inside. So we really needed to like prepare the schedule of the shooting like so good before, because we were there just for like a week and a half or something, and we didn't want to miss anything. So yeah, we just needed to like deal with the schedule and prepare the schedule so good to not miss anything that we wanted to shoot in that short period of time because of COVID. But yeah, we ended up doing it. Yeah.
Very well done, because if I didn't know, I did know, because I've read about you and about the making of the film, but one would not know that this was made during COVID.
Yeah.
It was just a fantastic film. And have you had the chance to keep up with Fatima and?
Yes, we actually talk, and yeah, it's fun to see like how their life have changed, because well, in the documentary, always like it appears Fatima, of course, she's the protagonist, but it also appears like different women, and it's so good to see how they have overcome like this situation, and now they're living in another country, and they have been able to like start doing what they want to do and stuff like that. And it's just like so fun to see how they have been able to overcome the past.
Oh, that's amazing. What an experience to have to go through at such a young age. That was,
yeah,
like I said before, it was hard to watch, but it was important to watch.
Thank you.
Celeste, biggest obstacle? How'd you overcome it?
Yeah, gosh, biggest obstacle, I think from a very big picture perspective, just pulling off the production period, like getting to the shoot at all, because it just felt like the entire time it was this house of cards, everything having to come into place, the locations, the actors, the insurance, all those things. We did have one major challenge. I think our sound editor dropped out. I think it was 24 hours before the shoot.
Oh.
And we just thought, oh my gosh, we can't do it now. We can't do it. Like, there's no way. Obviously, we need to have sound. But we got extremely lucky. We're just by chance, we reached out to the guy who provided us with our insurance certificate. He knew a bunch of people, and he happened to know a great sound mixer, and we called them up. And yeah, he usually works for an extremely high rate, and this was a student film for nothing, and he did it for us at the very last minute. So
wow.
We pulled it off. But yeah, for any filmmakers who are feeling like it's one of the hardest things you can pull off, it really certainly feels that way. And then it just happens, and then you can just dive in and do it.
Right. Well, sound can, in my opinion, make or break a film. You can have a fantastic film, and if the sound isn't good, it immediately takes you out of it. It makes you feel like it's not a great production. It's vital.
100%. That was one of our key elements of the film that we needed. So I'm so glad that it worked out.
It really did. It was the sound in there was fantastic. Even from the taking the drag on the cigarette and just everything. It was fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Isabel, biggest obstacle, biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it when making your film?
I think my biggest challenge was coming to a country that I had never been before in, which is the United States. And I didn't speak the language too well, let's say. And so everything was new. Like, I didn't know how to rent a place, how to rent equipment, everything. Like, I was completely lost. I think I was very, very, very lucky to find the people that I work with, especially my producers. She's actually a producer at a production company. So she gave me the camera. She found a place where to rent the equipment. People were believing in what I was trying to make, even if I couldn't express it too well in English. And yeah, no, they actually made it pretty easily. Like, for me, it was so like easy because they did everything so well. So yes, my advice for any international students that are trying to make a film here is to surround yourself with locals that actually believe in your movie, because they're gonna help you so much. Everything is gonna be so easy once you are able to find the people that believe in your project.
Right, right. And that's one of the benefits, which of course, being in Los Angeles, that's one of the benefits of being here is you go to a cafe, you are going to hear somebody talking about their project. That's just what it is here. It's everywhere. It could be a little overwhelming at times, but at the same time, it's an amazing part of Los Angeles culture. Everybody, not everybody, but so many people. My kids play sports, and last night I was talking to one of the fathers who said, "Oh, I listen to your music. You know, I'd love to talk about collaborating on a documentary I'm doing." I said, "You do documentaries?" Of course, it's LA. Of course, the hockey dad standing next to me does documentaries. It's LA. That's one of the great things about LA. I love it. Reagan, what would you say was one of the biggest obstacles? I know you sort of touched upon this already, but just for our aspiring filmmakers out there, biggest obstacle and how did you overcome it?
I think sort of touching on what Carlotta was saying as well, doing it during the pandemic. So the entire animated short was produced virtually. My character designer was in another country in Mexico. And also just, I had to sort of figure out what kind of animation I wanted and then find an animator, which I had no idea how to do. And then once I did have the animator, communicating with him via phone or email or Zoom, trying to, you know, communicate what I wanted to come across and then getting back the results, which may be different based on how I said it. And also just that I had no knowledge in animation or how it works or what programs he might use. So, you know, me asking, giving a certain request and then him coming back and saying, oh, well, you know, After Effects can't do that, or Photoshop or Illustrator is going to have difficulty pulling off this certain type of look or whatever, you know, so just learning those type of things. And he and I both having the patience to kind of, you know, communicate what was going to be the issues and what would work and what I wanted and what he was able to do, and how much each thing would be financially. So I think that was essentially me not having any experience in animation was the biggest challenge. But it was also just a great learning experience going ahead and doing it. I think that was the scariest part, just deciding I'm going to do this even though I have no idea what's going on or what I'm doing. But it made it kind of fun too, just learning from him. I think that was also important, like I mentioned before, finding someone who was okay with that and wasn't going to get frustrated with me not knowing. So it was a fun experience for both of us, I think. And then I ended up working with him again for my next short. So yeah.
Well, I commend you for taking the chance, and really a good piece of advice for all of our students is don't think too much. At some point, you just have to start. Just start.
Totally.
Get your phone in your hand. Just start. There's only so much theory you can do. You can read books and books and books about filmmaking, which are fantastic. But until you start doing it, you're not really quite doing it. So just get out there. If you don't know what you're doing, find folks to collaborate with who do know what they're doing, or at least know somebody who might know somebody who knows what they're doing. Collaborate, get to know people. Our next question is, what course or courses have you taken at UCLA Extension? And what did you learn in those courses that really stuck with you? Like even just an instructor said one thing that really hit you and stayed with you. Any ideas on that one?
So I have taken the producing documentaries course.
Okay.
And well, as you can see, I love making documentaries.
Right.
So that course really helped me because as they said also, when I did the documentary, I didn't really know what I was doing. And there's a lot of things that if I would shoot the documentary now, I would completely change and I would like do 100 times better. But I feel like this course helped me a lot for the future if I want to like continue making and producing documentaries. And I would also say another course, I took entertainment law, and this one helped me a lot because it's not a course that I would enjoy taking it because I don't like law, but I feel it was so important because I learned how to protect my projects and how to protect myself. And that's something that I didn't know. Like there was a lot of things that I didn't know I could protect myself without having something written down, or, you know, it's just something that I think is really important to know. And I just took it because I didn't know what course related to like law and to protect my projects I could take. And I just jumped into it, and I thought it was really, really useful and helpful for the future.
Oh, that's great. Yes, especially independent artists, we have to know, whether we like it or not, or whether we think business is a dirty word, we have to know to some degree how business works to protect ourselves. That's extremely important, whether it's film, television, music, it's crucial to at least knowing a fair amount of that. Celeste, courses you've taken, and maybe something an instructor said that really stuck with you?
Yeah, I'm in the film directing certificate program. So I've taken pretty much almost every class that's part of that program except for 3. One class that really stands out to me is Craft of the Director with David Martin Porras.
Yes.
I took that in fall of 2019. That was my very first class at UCLA Extension, and I was just so mesmerized by his class. Frankly, I didn't really know what a director did before taking that class. Like I didn't know the full scope of what that role entailed. And I learned so much from that class, and just remember thinking that if I could, you know, be in this lecture every night, every single day, I would never want to leave. But he was fantastic. And that was a class that really just shaped my understanding of what a director does. And I also took a great class with Fernando Scarpa. He was my instructor for the advanced workshop class. And this advice might not apply to everyone, but I was so nervous about directing a child actor. I had never directed actors before, let alone a child actor. And I remember Fernando just saying, they'll be better than you think. And that just really stayed with me. And when I got on set with her, that was exactly the case. She was remarkable. I really didn't do much with her.
That's fantastic. And you know, you just said something that I think is important for a lot of our audience members to know. That struck me, that you said you took Craft of the Director without really knowing what a director does. And that's, if you're feeling intimidated, I'm speaking to those who are listening, you're feeling intimidated, that's why we're here. That's why it's called the Craft of the Director, or pre-production and production. What does that mean? What is pre-production? That's why we have the class. So we have varying levels of students in our courses. You could take a class with someone who is well into the entertainment industry, or somebody who says, I don't know what exactly a director, I mean, I know what a director, we all have the image of a director, you know, calling the scene, but really, what do you do all day? What does a director do? So if you're feeling intimidated, this is a place where our goal is to take that intimidation out of it. And look, now Celeste is making films and producing films. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I'll just add really quickly too that the very first short film that I made, it was a class where they were just like, go make a short film. And so I was just so in over my head with the production logistics, you know, the casting and the wardrobe and locations and what are people going to eat and things like that. And then we actually got on set, and everyone was looking at me, and I was like, oh, I have to direct this. Like,
oh wait, I'm in charge.
Yeah, and I remember saying action for the first time and feeling so embarrassed that I was saying action out loud. And from there, though, that was like the seed that really started on. I was like, what is this is directing? Because that, whatever I just did was so fun. And yeah, UCLA Extension was where I immediately looked for how I could start just learning that whole path.
Ah, that's beautiful. I love it. I love that. Isabel, a course or courses you've taken, what really stuck with you?
I'm taking the directing certificate.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yes, and I just finished developing a short film with Francisco Stella. And I really think that was a beautiful class. I've been taking a bunch of screenwriting classes, but that one was different because at the beginning I was like I didn't want people to read my script and stuff like that. Then everybody, like I would pick every single person that would like play a part, like a role or another one. And everybody was just like so drawn into trying and like make it like sound as if it was like acted. And they were all screenwriters, like none of them were actors.
Right.
And so we we all created a very, very like close group of people. We would like go out and like have a drink after that, and we would still talk about the scripts. We would talk about the scripts like during the week before the class. And so like it just like became so like I was waiting for that class to arrive and like to be able to see what they would say, what were the impressions, to see the other scripts. I thought it was just great. And Colin was an amazing professor. He was just there trying to listen to everybody, try to give us suggestions. He like really took it at heart. So I think that was a really, really great class.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, I find a lot of our students, it can be nerve-wracking to take developing your short film. You're basically opening yourself up and saying, okay, have at it, which is like saying have at me, because I did this. It can be intimidating, but the more you do it, you'll find that we do tend to have a very supportive environment here, which is extremely important. Everyone has the same goal, really, which is to make the best script. And particularly, I'm speaking in this class, developing your short film, make the best script possible. Sometimes on the other end of things, we have students who often will tell me they already know how to write a script. And I'll say, okay, if that's the case, perhaps we can waive this course, you can substitute it with something else, but may I have your permission to send it to one of our instructors? The instructor will look at it and say, the student really needs to take the course, because while a story is your story, and I understand when students sometimes say, I don't really want to be told how to tell my story. There are formats, there are rules. I think it may be a case of learn the rules so you know how to break them. Did you feel in developing your short film that you were taught how to properly write a script regardless of the story? Is that something that you get out of that course?
Definitely. I actually, as I said before, I took other like screenwriting classes during my undergrad. But I guess things changed. So many things like I was like doing actually like became to be wrong. And it was very interesting to see. Probably it was like maybe like something that like it's taught in Italy and not here. But it was very interesting to see how things are different. There was also another classmate. He was like he's a director. He writes like scripts all the time. He was a professional, but still he was there trying to help everybody and being helped by everybody else. I thought that was just amazing because we were all kind of like, we knew what we were doing, but we were still like trying to help each other. It was good.
Right.
Yeah.
The collaboration is key. That's what I've always said in all the years I've been here. Collaborate with your fellow students. These are people you may very well be working with in years to come, many years to come. That's collaboration is key in this industry, and for the best success in our program, I've always said collaborate as much as you possibly can with your fellow students, with your instructors. Reagan, a course or courses you've taken, and what's a little tidbit of information that stayed with you and really helped you progress as a filmmaker?
Yeah, I took the course Writing the First Screenplay with Will Hasley. At the time, I was looking for a job in film development, which I had no experience in, and I thought, well, it would be good for me to know the basics of screenwriting. And I had no idea that, that movies are divided into 3 acts and what each act is supposed to accomplish, and that there has to be an inciting incident and what beats are. And it just really helped me, kind of like you were saying, learn the rules so that you can break them. I know that sometimes people can get frustrated with the structure that a lot of people insist a feature has to have, and it doesn't necessarily have to have it, but there's a reason why those things have existed for decades.
Right.
And so it was really helpful just to learn how to break it down, what an outline looks like, and how, if the story is not story driven, or if there's no character arc, or if there's no significant B story, how that might hurt your narrative and make it, whatever, boring or not working for whatever reason. And then because I was in that class, I had access to you know, I made friends in the class, and I was able to sort of talk about the class in job interviews for film development, and it helped me, I think, then when I did get a job, and a lot of my responsibilities were doing script coverage and on the submitted scripts, and like recommending to my bosses, you know, what I thought was and wasn't good, what writers I thought they should meet with. It really helped just knowing the basics. And not only that, but I made friends in the class.
Right.
We still have a bi-weekly writing group. We are able to give better notes because of the things we learned. And so actually probably the number one thing I'm thankful for, as you were mentioning with collaboration, is the really close friends that I made in the class, and the help that we give each other creatively even still.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love to hear when the collaboration really does take place. It's such a beautiful thing. Fun question here. And let's start with Carlota. One of your favorite filmmakers and why? Who is one of your favorite filmmakers?
Okay, so I would say one of my favorite filmmakers is Quentin Tarantino, because I just like his humor, the style that he uses on the movies. Yeah, just like the tones that he uses. But I'm from Spain, so I also like a lot Almodovar. And yeah, I would say these are my two favorites. That doesn't mean like I just have, like, when people ask me what's your favorite movie, I always have so much problems of deciding that.
Yes, of course.
Because I like so many types of movies. I like fiction movies, but I also like a lot documentaries. I also like TV shows. I don't know. I always have like a lot of trouble choosing that. Also with work, I never know what to do because I like a lot of stuff that can be good but bad also. But yeah, I like a lot of filmmakers, but I would say these two that are my favorites.
Okay. Yeah, it's a challenging question to ask, a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
It's like saying, you know, what's your favorite kind of music? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Everything from classical to you know, indie rock to everything.
Exactly.
Celeste, how would you answer this one?
Oh yeah, this is a tough one too.
I know.
Well, I'll start by saying that I love Christopher Nolan. I think, you know, he's obviously such a commercial and critical success type of director who's such an idol for me. I remember watching The Dark Knight in IMAX 12 times when it came out. It was a lot of money that I did not have at the time.
Right.
And it was so worth it. Yeah, I love his work, and I also love the Coen brothers, Taika Waititi. The debut features from Olivia Wilde and Emerald Fennell were incredible. I read both
Right.
of those scripts as well, and I just love those. Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson, Luca Guadagnino. I mean, Denis Villeneuve. There are so many. Yeah,
I knew I would open the floodgates with that question. I had to do it anyway, though.
Those are just some highlights that I have.
No, those are all fantastic. How about you, Isabel?
I would say my favorite director, the one that like inspires me the most, mostly for Pillow actually, is Iñárritu.
Okay.
Especially the combination Iñárritu and Rodrigo Prieto, the cinematographer.
Yes.
I think the way he portrays people with that like shaky camera that like keeps like following them as if they were like imprisoned in those lenses, it's just so wonderful. My favorite movie by him is actually Beautiful. It's a movie like that takes place in Barcelona with Javier Bardem.
Okay.
But it's just like, it's so powerful. It talks about so many things, especially thanks to the shots. Like the shots are something I recommend you all watch that movie. It's very, very disturbing, but at the same time it's so spiritual. And like Iñárritu has this thing of like being like super spiritual in his movies, also with Birdman, of course, and also usage of different languages. With Babel, he spoke English, Spanish, Chinese, so many languages all together to like talk about the different cultures. It just amazes me. Yeah.
Great one. Yeah, it's amazing how just little things like a shaky camera can make such a massive difference in the feel of a scene, the feel of a movie.
Definitely.
Little subtleties like that.
Yeah.
And same question, of course, Reagan.
Definitely the first person that comes to mind for me is Greta Gerwig. I really love her taste and style, especially in Little Women. She's done original stories as well, but that
I
adaptation,
love that film.
it's so good, and I just really admire that that story. You know, of course, it's classic for a reason, but in my opinion, it can get kind of slow and boring, even in the other films that have been an adaptation. And somehow Greta was just able to bring life and magic to that story.
Right.
You know, she made Amy human to where we didn't hate her. I feel like anyway, I won't get too specific on the characters, but she really has this gift to be able to see what's important character wise in the stories, right, and bring that to life. Lady Bird was such a good coming of age. It really felt like you were a teenager in that movie.
Right.
Frances Ha, I relate to, you know, moving to a city by yourself and all the things that come with that, and the fact that she can do things from Marriage Story to Barbie. Just the range that she has is so good. So
right. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I love all of your answers. You've already given so much great advice, all of you, but what's one piece of advice you would give to our aspiring filmmakers here? Or maybe a piece of advice you would have given yourself before you made your film? Carlota?
An advice I would give to myself before making the film would just be
or to aspiring filmmakers.
Yeah, I would just say, like, when you're studying, like, you learn a lot, but you actually don't learn certain things until you make a movie or you make a short or whatever. So I remember myself, like, at the beginning, I was like so scared. How am I gonna record the sound? How am I gonna do that? How am I gonna put the film together? And I was like, I don't know, pretty scared and like lost. So I think I would just say to myself and to like new filmmakers would be just try it. Just try it, like, do the best you can with what you have learned. Just try to get help from people that are already in the industry and they already have experience doing it, and just try to make it happen, because that's the only way you will learn. If you don't make it happen, you will never learn how it is to like make a film. So I would just say, just try it and do your best.
Right. And all of you have sort of alluded to this. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not know everything, to not know, how do I get sound? What am I doing? Should I just abandon this whole project? It's okay to be vulnerable and not know everything, not have the answers to everything, because as we've heard from all of you, you don't start off and say, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm sure there are some lucky folks out there who just, that's their personality. But for most of us, I think it's just, okay, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I need to be flexible because I don't know how to do this. And maybe this is going to come up, and that's okay. That's okay. You'll get through it. You'll persevere and come up with some beautiful films like you all have.
Yeah, you need to start at some point. So just like the first movie might be not the best movie you ever make, but it would actually be.
And you don't have to show that. You don't have to show it to anybody but your family. You know, it's okay. Just start, do it. Celeste, advice you would like to give?
Yeah, just very much on the similar lines. I always think of that Stephen King quote where he says, the scariest moment is right before you start. I'm sure many people have had versions of that too, but that's exactly how I felt the entire time that I was making this, because we were in pre-production for, I think it was like 5 or 6 months, and it was just the most anxiety-inducing 6 months of my life, because you just have no idea what you're getting into, what you can pull off. The whole thing feels like it's on your shoulders. Everyone's looking to you. You also, or I just felt like I didn't know anything. This is my very first real short films. I was extremely green, but I was really shocked and happy to find that, you know, once you get on set, once that first slate is up, and you just suddenly get in the zone and you start doing it, and every minute and every hour just suddenly flies by, and all of a sudden your shoot has wrapped and you're done. And I think that's just the best feeling. And I also want to say that I think we always have these ideas of what a director might look like or how they might act, and it's often, you know, they're very eccentric and very aggressive, and as a team we try to really make our set just really nice, friendly, lots of laughter. Everyone was just there to learn, so that was a really rewarding part.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad you had that experience. That's fantastic. Isabel?
Absolutely. I could say that try to get into as many passion projects as you can in any how do you say, like as an electric or as an assistant, like as a PA or anything, and try to see as many mistakes as the other makes, but also to spot the right people. Like there's that gaffer in this short film that it's not gonna be too good, but he's really, really good. So let's get his contact. And if you like them, eventually let's become friends, and then let's have him your database kind of thing. In the next short film, you're gonna find the best creator or the best focus puller. Just like try to make as many connections as you can with people that are better than you in their specific things, so that then they can really, really help you out and make something like better than what you were expecting, kind of a thing.
That's perfect. That's fantastic advice. And Reagan, what advice would you give?
I would say, yeah, you know, as we've kind of touched on, it's really scary to make something. You know, there's a lot that comes with it, the challenges that we've talked about, and not only that, but the insecurities that a person might have as to like, what if this comes across as stupid or people don't like it or whatever. And it's just that's the great thing about film, is that we all have different tastes. We all have movies we love that other people don't as much. And that's the beauty of it, I think. And also, I would recommend just networking as much as possible. If you can find emails or phone numbers of people, just bug them. It's really hard to do. And some people won't respond or might be annoyed or whatever. But if you can just Zoom with or get coffee with as many people in the industry as you can, there's really something to learn from everyone. And also I would just recommend looking for work in the area you think you want to be in, working for someone who does what you think you want to do, so that you can really get in there and see if it's what you think it's going to be.
That's fantastic advice. And also for those who are listening who may not be aware, our website is entertainment.uclaextension.edu. We have, if you go to that website, at the top it says find your crew. That is an area where you can look for people who are directors and have put themselves up there, or actors, cinematographers, film scoring composers. That's another way that we really try to get all of our students to collaborate with each other. So take a look at that, entertainment.uclaextension.edu, and go to find your crew and just browse, and please put yourself up there. If you're a director, list yourself as a director. It will tell you exactly, fill out this form to get yourself approved to be on the list, etc. So please collaborate with each other. So we're almost, I think we've got just a few minutes left. Tell us about your upcoming projects. I really genuinely look forward to seeing whatever is coming next from all of you. Carlota, anything going on right now? Anything up and coming?
Well, this year with UCLA, I've been working on what I did about the refugees is a short documentary. So I would like to shoot a feature.
Right.
I'm still like working on it and like seeing what the goals of the documentary will be, but I would like to do something related with what I have already done, because I would change a lot of things right now. I think I would do it way better. So yeah, I'm trying to work on that, but slowly.
Oh, that's fantastic. So the idea, so how would you go about doing that? Would you turn it into a feature, like would it still be documentary style?
Yeah, it will be a documentary style, but like way longer. The feature is just 15 the short is just 50 minutes. So I would like to do 1 hour or a bit more.
Right.
But a bit different. I would like to still focus on refugee, but because I've learned a lot of things. Also, when I was shooting the short documentary, there was a lot of things that the protagonist was explaining me, and I couldn't film it on camera because she didn't want to explain it. But now she's more open. So I just feel like now I have like a stronger connections with the people that appear in the short documentary, that I could make it better. Also, I learned a lot from making this short documentary, also from UCLA, and I just feel like I want to do it better. So I want to do future something related to that, but I want it also to be a bit different. So I'm just working on the idea and like, yeah, just trying to make it happen.
Oh, well, I look forward to seeing whatever comes of that.
Thank
It'll
you.
be fantastic. And just a reminder to everyone, making mistakes is awesome. It really is how we learn, right? I tell my kids all the time, making mistakes is the way to go. How many mistakes did you make today? And what did you learn? That's one of the most important things I think about, for example, being in one of our programs and taking, for example, directing workshop 1, directing workshop 2. You make very short little, not even films, we'll just call them exercises, and you learn what you did wrong, or you learned what your mistakes were, or in your case, it may not be something you did wrong, but something you would want to do differently if you the next time around. So that's fantastic. Celeste, what's going on next?
Yeah, next up we are going to shoot a horror film, which I'm really excited about. We're still in development for that. It should be fun. Yeah, it's just like a little tease, I guess. It's basically a horror film about being a single woman in your 30s, very much like Sex and the City meets Get Out. So that's what we're working on right now.
Fantastic. That sounds amazing. Isabel.
Yeah, I actually just wrapped a short film that I shot with my friends and teammates. We shot it in 16mm, which was
nice, beautiful.
Yes, it was a dark comedy, super fun. I'm actually in the pre-production process right now for the short film that I've been writing for a long time, but actually, like, I just finished developing your short film, and they really improved it. It was great, and so yeah, I'm planning on shooting it next year. It's about bipolar mother with 2 little kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Can't wait to see what's coming from you. It's going to be amazing to watch. And Reagan.
I was so engrossed in listening to you that I forgot I was about to talk.
Reagan, you're a panelist.
Yes, my next project, it's called Head Over Heels. It's another animated project, which I'm really excited about because it combines the different types of animation. So there's some 2D and some stop motion in it.
I love stop motion.
Yeah, I do too. That was my first experience working with stop motion, and it was just so fun learning about how it works. And then I got a separate background artist to paint the different backgrounds. So it's cool seeing a combination of sort of 3 different artists work in it. It's a story about 2 socks who are a couple, and they get separated when one of them's lost on the way to the laundry. So it's sort of about that one's journey back to the other one. It's pretty fun, so I'm excited about that one.
Oh, it sounds fun. Well, thank you all so much for your candor, for sharing your stories with us. It's really been amazing. I know in the chat, hopefully I haven't missed any questions. I don't think we've had any questions, but for those of you listening, there is an events panel schedule listed there. We have access for tomorrow's 10 a.m. Filmmaker panel. You can RSVP for the awards ceremony. So these are all, my colleagues have posted all of these links in the chat. The event and panel schedule as well. Thank you to everyone for joining us, our filmmakers and our audience. And as a reminder, so we're holding a series of live panels today and tomorrow, so please take a look at the schedule that I just mentioned we posted. The next Filmmaker panel is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. You'll have the opportunity to meet the filmmakers of Oh No, a Computer, Kept, Ghosted, The Studio Assistant, and Dandelions. Those are all fantastic films. I've seen them all. I've loved them all. Please join us tomorrow. And our festival awards ceremony will begin at 3:30 on Sunday, followed by a virtual networking event at 4 p.m. And if you haven't done so, don't forget to vote for your Audience Choice Award on the UCLA X Film Fest website. And please visit the Entertainment Studies website to learn about our scholarships and fall classes. Fall is currently open for enrollment, and you can find our catalog of classes in the chat. And again, that website was entertainment.uclaextension.edu. And again, I'm so big on collaboration. Go to that website and please check out the Find Your Crew section so we can get you all working together. Thank you all so very much for giving your time and sharing your insights. It's truly appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.